everyone and welcome to Disney Miss Lizzie. Now for today's video I thought I would do something very simple. It will be nice and easy to research and watch after having a particularly bad migraine, which for anyone who has them, you will know how much they hurt. So I thought, oh great, I'll use this time to study and review the Pixar shorts. They're only short. Boy was I wrong, there was so much detail and so much to explain that, well, we've come up with this 20 rankings of the first Pixar originals, so let's get to it. Before we get started, I just wanted to say a huge thank you for checking out the channel. If you like what I do, then please hit the subscribe button, like and share this video, as well as comment so we can build up the community. And don't forget, you can follow me on Instagram and TikTok. As part of today's review, I will be looking and ranking the original Pixar shorts from The Adventures of Andre the Wallaby to Bayo. Kicking off our top 20 list is the 1987 classic Red's Dream. So my likes for it is that it's an animate object where you know how they're feeling, you know what's going on in their imagination. You can see elements of it that the studio will build upon, like reflections. Reflections are so important when it comes to these Pixar shorts, and it's something I didn't realise until I started reviewing them for the channel. So I'd say they're my favourites, but the weaker points, I do feel a bit cruel sort of nitpicking on the style because this is 1987. This is even 2 years before Aardman's Wallace and Gromit came out, so it's quite a big leap, but it just doesn't stick out for me as much as the other Pixar shorts, so that's why Red Dream is at number 20. Inspired by the novels of American novelist Mark Twain, is Bounding. Got a good sense of reflections, and the song that is used, I think that's a nice little touch, and it's also original as well for Pixar. They use very clever sound design, and I think this is the first sort of piece that has lyrics to go with its storytelling, with its short film. So that's its positives, and then the negative, it just doesn't really stand out for me, unfortunately, but the little sheep's cute, and we love sheep, we love lambs. Flying in at number 18 is the first and original Pixar short, Andre and the Wallaby. Although it's quite stiff, and it's definitely, you know, a far cry even from Toy Story, it's still pinnacle in Pixar's history. It's a good sense of slapstick and an excellent pacing and excellent timing, and to do that with very limited sources is phenomenal. Landing at number 17, Lifted. Although the computers at the time that Lifted was made wasn't revolutionary, they did use something called jiggling, which allowed the animators to jiggle certain parts of the human body so they could wiggle certain parts, and they could also leave the face as it were. And it's a great example of how Pixar uses comic timing impeccably. Flying in at number 16, it's the perfectly timed and slapstick comedy of For the Birds. It's very reminiscent of Looney Tunes and Tom and Jerry. It's not a Pixar short that I've watched a lot, but I got far more enjoyment out of it this time than I have done in previous views. Possibly I would have liked it to have been a little bit longer and to maybe have built up a bit more of a story with For the Birds. But the slapstick humour and the timing, I'd say the comedic timing of the birds looking at each other before they boing away from the telephone wire is... 15th entry on the Pixar list sees one of the more recent shorts. It is the imaginative Sanjay's Super Team. Sanjay is a little boy who's very much into superheroes, and he just wants to watch superhero cartoons when his dad is trying to do a spiritual meditation, and he brings him along and it's just, oh dad, this is so boring, blah, blah, blah. But then neither character is vilified. You know, so for example, you could have an emphasis too much on the child, or it could be emphasis on the father's perspective of his son. It's done in such a way that both of these characters can come together at the end, and both of them can grow, them can step into each other's worlds without losing their identity.
Dancing to its own beat, it is the classic one-man band.
What I admire most about this animation is the detail in the peasant girl. It's not necessarily the detail in the musicians, which, yes, is rich and layered, but it's something so simple with the peasant girl. So when you see her, you see that she has dirt on her face, and the way she's holding this coin, you can see how much it means to her. You've gotten so much information, and to put that in and to make that character come to life without the added detail, that really sets it apart. Awesome.
In at number 13 is one of the very first Pixar shorts that I ever watched, Jerry's Game.
So it's a very simple storyline, but it's so cleverly done, because you see at first Jerry putting the movements down, so putting the pawns down and then walking around the chessboard. And once Pixar have started to tighten it up and to cut the shorts into faster editing paces, you kind of forget that it's the same character. And the way that they use the 180-degree rule, brilliant. For anyone who's studying film or animation, this is like a perfect example of how you can use the 180-degree rule. And the writer really wanted to push Pixar into creating a system that could create textured skin, it could create cloth and textured layers. It was being made at the same time as A Bug's Life, and so a lot of the computers and renderings were then being adopted into Bug's Life.
Abracadabra! I can reveal that in at number 12 it is the magical short Presto!
First thing I think needs to be spoken about is how amazing the theatre looks. And this was achieved through the animators studying several different opera houses. It also pays homage to Harry Houdini and Looney Tunes and Tom and Jerry animations, so with the violence and the slapstick comedy.
Aiming for simplicity, yet rememberability, this was one of the predecessors to Toy Story. It is Knick Knack.
It's just very original, very simple, and it's stripped back, which the animators wanted to do after Tin Toy because they had such a nightmare with Billy. Also appreciate how much work has still went into it.
Helping to kick off our top 10, it is the film that got Toy Story commissioned. It is, of course, the classic Tin Toy.
Tinny makes it. Tinny's expressions, oh my gosh, Timmy's point of view of Billy. And although Billy is intentionally, and I'd also say unintentionally scary, you see it all from Tinny's point of view. It's this giant baby set hell-bent on destroying everything, but he has no concept of it because obviously he's a baby. He's not like Sid, where Sid has a concept that this would hurt. Billy doesn't, and that's, again, it's so clever how it's done because it's not the baby's the villain, it's just the baby's a baby. I don't think there's any better film to start our top 10 with than Tin Toy.
Finding its way into 9th place, Lou.
I think one of the best things about Lou, Pixar's ability to animate inanimate objects, he moves very unsettlingly across the screen, so you see the jumper going, the eyeballs for the baseball balls are going, and it's quite creepy. However, it's a good example of layering a character and not everything is all that it seems. And the same with the bully. The bully isn't all that he seems. He's a bully because he was bullied, but then redeems himself through the help of Lou. It's not just a straightforward, this is a bully, he is bad. It's just, there is a reason why he's doing that.
In at number 8, we have the adorable, empathetic and inspiring Bayo.
We see through the eyes of the mother what it means to see your child that you've wanted for so long to grow up and to want to be their own individual, and how that feels for the mother, but the mother isn't necessarily, again, vilified. It's just very clever how it's done. I also love that it is extremely reminiscent of Studio Ghibli. You know, that opening shot of Mum sitting by the window, it just reminded me of From Up on Poppy Hill, and that influence from Studio Ghibli. One of the best animation studios is a lovely compliment. and it was the first female-directed Pixar short. And she did a lot of research into it. She asked her mum what it felt like to be a parent. Her mum was brought in to show the animators how you made steamed dumplings. And that was, I think that's such a cool touch that her mother still had this influence. And it's cute. The little steam bun is adorable.
Okay, so for this next one, it might be time to grab the ukulele as well as an extra box of tissues. It is Lava.
Okay, admittedly, Lava should be higher on the list, but because it makes me cry so much, that's why it's a lot lower. And you can see how much love has gone into it, how much detail has gone into the world building of Hawaii. It is stunning, and this song, although it's a nice little happy tune on the ukulele or a lovely melody, the lyrics are heartbreaking, and it's a fantastic contradiction in these wonderful layers and animating a volcano. And I have to say that Pixar, along with Disney in Aladdin and Aardman, they know how to animate inanimate objects spectacularly. For me personally, they are the 3 animation studios that know how to get it right.
Bouncing into 6th place, it is the brilliant Luxo Jr.
Okay, so this is one of the earlier shorts that have gone into the top, or just missed out on the top 5, but in the top 10. It's made in 1986. Without Luxo, you wouldn't have the Pixar ident that we all love and know. The reason for ranking it so high is because of the time of its release and how much effort has gone into it. It's phenomenal.
We have now reached our top 5 Pixar shorts, and to help us float through the last few, it is the adorable Partly Cloudy.
The main thing about Partly Cloudy that sort of sets itself apart is its originality, that it was inspired by Dumbo, and you can see that with the storks and the way that they are delivering the babies and the baby animals and stuff. The texture of the clouds are beautifully done, and you can see how fluffy they are and how peaceful it looks, and the colours sort of reflect the infancy of the storyline and of the characters that are being involved. It came in at number 5 for me because it is very charming. It's a very sweet and a harmless short, but it's something that's quite inspiring, and it's a good way of showing how different friendships can work and be connected, even though you may not necessarily have the same interests, or you might be 2 different people. You can still work together and you can still love each other.
In 4th place, it is the awesome Piper.
It took 3 years to make, and it really did push technology, because you have exquisite and minute detail in the feathers and in the grains of sand, and that really helps to make the character come to life, especially when you see Piper's point of view of the waves coming in, and you can see how terrifying they are to him, because oh my gosh. But then when it cuts to the actual speed and what the waves and the sea look like, it's all sort of imagined in his head, and it's wonderful character development. The music is absolutely lovely. A wonderful example of what music can do to tell a story, and I would highly recommend listening to Christopher Beck's other stuff. He also composed Frozen. You might hear familiar melodies and familiar sounds in that.
Sailing into number 3 is the magical La Luna.
So La Luna feels like a fairy tale, with the story of how the moon comes to be a full moon and how it's then transformed into a crescent moon, and it's not only original, but it's also charming, and it's very cosy, and I think that's one of the reasons why I love it so much. I also love that the fisherman's design was then used later on in Luca. Now we're in our top 2. To say this was a hard decision would be understating it, because I love and respect both of these films in the top 2, and it was so difficult to choose. I was sitting there for ages going, but this one has this, but this one has that, but this one does this one so well, and that one does that one so well, help! And it's only missed the top spot by a smidge, just by the way in which animation has improved. It is genius, and the film student in me would say that if you ever need to learn the importance of sound design or how sound should work, then this is the top level of how important sound is and how much fun you can have with it. A lot of emphasis is placed on vision, which, yes, good vision always helps. But bad vision you can kind of forgive and be okay. Poor sound, however, you can't, and that is something that is difficult to master, and it's difficult to work with, and you have to have a proper understanding of it. And so day and night, which is my number 2, which I've now revealed, day and night use sound so well. And when I was researching for this with my very, very handy Pixar book, which I will put a link in on where to buy, there was a story in which James Clark explained that he was doing a workshop, and he invited somebody from the BBC who specialised in shorts, and he astounded the class by saying, Pixar, if you want to know how to make a decent short, look at Pixar. So it's telling a story through sound. It's how they use it, it's how they use the sounds that really make it come to life. And they're very simple things, they're everyday things that you wouldn't necessarily think of, but then it's turned on its head slightly to tell this story, like when Day is waking up and he needs to use the bathroom, and you just hear the waterfall, and then as he's breathing in, so the wind's changing and the trees are changing. The way that Las Vegas is being used to tell the story, you know, in the daytime, yeah, it looks okay, but at night, this is where this place comes alive. So the voice that you hear on the radio as they're dancing and is explaining, you know, fear of the unknown. Dr. Wayne Dyer in the 1970s did this lecture, and then he allowed Pixar to very kindly use it, and that again just sets the tone. And that was inspired by a lecture that Albert Einstein had done. Okay, so now we're on to our number 1. So you can hear how much passion and I love for Day and Night, but in the number 1 spot is Blue Umbrella. It's a masterpiece, and everything that we've seen through these shorts, right back from Red Dream and Wall-E, is then poured into Blue Umbrella, particularly with the use of reflections and the way in which they've animated and told this romantic, thrilling and charming story through an umbrella that just has a very simple smile, and you're completely absorbed and sucked into this world that the Blue Umbrella has. And it's not dull in any sense, you know, it's fantastic. And I love the way, again, that they get these animate objects and they've made them come to life. They've made buildings come to life, they've made awnings come to life. You believe it. And no dialogue is used between the umbrellas, it's all facial expressions, and that's how they get their point of view across, that's how they get the story across. Oh my gosh, I love it. It's, again, a wonderful piece of filmmaking. It doesn't rely on this dramatic dialogue, which a lot of film students, myself included, you know, you want to write the Shakespearean sonnet of and you want to be dramatic and you know, proclaim passion and love. But what this teaches you is that you don't need it. You know, dialogue is a fun thing, it's a good thing to play about with, but you don't need to rely on it. And if Pixar can make an umbrella have this exciting, thrilling journey, then, you know, it shows just what you can do. It just pays off so well, and I love it so much, and I go back and watch it again and again. It's the first Pixar short that I think of. That is something that Pixar has done beautifully since 1984, when they were part of the Lucasfilm Studios. If you stuck around for this long, thank you so much for checking out the channel, thank you so much for checking out the video. Do you agree with my ranking? Do you agree with my endless love for Pixar, or is there a short that you think, actually Lizzie, this really isn't good? If that's the case, then please, 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 please leave a comment in the comments section, because I would love to hear other people's opinions. And of course, if you like what I do, then please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. You can like and share this video, build up the community, that would be awesome, so we can get more Disney fans and Pixar fans involved here. And you can also follow me on Instagram and TikTok. But anyway, thank you so much again, guys. Have an awesome day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!